Hello, everybody. Welcome to Influencer Interviews and Insights with Rooster Hat and Takes. My name is Matt. I'm here with Jason and Cam again. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Staying busy, so it's always a good sign.
Same here. I'm doing good as well. Thank you.
Great. Just a quick little announcement before we get this awesome show started today. We got a great guest ahead of us today. But we have started our new little giveaway on the Next Level app. All you have to do is download the app, give the squared circle a follow, and you can have your chance to win a $100 gift card to the WWE shop. So get on over there to the Next Level app. A lot of really good things happening. We have, again, we say it every week, but we do have the world's best content creators on the app. And we are also starting to get some talent. Jason and I have had some great meetings with some wrestlers. So they will be on the app soon. We'll talk a little bit about a special wrestler that myself and our guests saw over the weekend. And we'll get into that a little bit. But, a lot of big things happening at the Next Level app. And that's what we're super excited about. And then obviously our podcast here. Last week we had a great show with Santi Zapp on. This week, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce him right now. We're going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Teshk. How you doing, Mr. Teshk?
Yeah. What's going on, boys? How we doing?
Good.
Pretty good, thanks.
Look at you guys.
Doing great.
All tanned besides Cam. And we had a great weekend. What's going on? What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a pretty good weekend. Cam unfortunately doesn't see the sun, obviously.
Yeah, there's no chance of me getting a tan here in the UK. Absolutely zero chance. It's been raining, cold, but let's not talk about the weather.
There, all right.
But Cam, you got something exciting coming up. You'll get some warm weather here at some point, right?
Yes, I am coming to Florida twice actually in the next year and a half, which is very exciting. Coming in December, so hopefully we can catch up and maybe meet some wrestlers or go to NXT or something. Be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes, we definitely will be getting together. That's a no-brainer for sure.
Make sure you put on some suntan lotion. Don't get burnt like
yeah, definitely.
Did what he got down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, it literally took you, Steve, an hour, and the next thing I know, I look over and he's just fried. Yeah,
normally I enjoy the sun. I enjoy being in warm weather. It has been a minute since I was near any ocean, and getting the time to the hospitality that Matt and the family showed around the pool. I think it was like 40 minutes, and I already had to go under the umbrella and sit in the pool in a chair and just be like, oh my God, I can't do this right now.
It does not take much down here. This Florida sun is ridiculous. It will absolutely fry you. So let's get into that. Why were you down here? I'll let you tell a little bit of the story. I mean, yes, I hosted you for the day. We hung out a couple times. But what was your main reason for being down here in the Tampa area?
Well, with what I do as like a pro wrestling full-time content creator, my job is to get content in the most unique ways, and I was able to build some phenomenal relationships over the last year, and everything just kind of fell in line, I guess, for this weekend. Like, obviously, Matt, like outside of Next Level, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes, you and I become pretty close, and it was like, okay, we've got WWE Backlash, we've got GCW, and somebody I consider a very close friend in Zilla Fatu was performing in his first singles match. And it just all kind of felt right that I make the trip. This time I was not driving 21 hours like I did for the Royal Rumble. Won't be doing that again. So I decided to fly down on the Thursday, tapped in with Zilla, and we got to hang out, and then obviously yourself, and got hosted, and got to go to GCW, was able to get some backstage access, which was one of the first times for me to like have full reign. Like they didn't care what I did or where I went. I was in the locker room. I was shooting the shit with Billy Starks, who is the Ring of Honor women's television champion, I believe. Hanging out with her, getting to hear her unique story, like starting at 13, already a champion in AEW at 19, and Ring of Honor. Sorry, met Matt Cardona. Obviously, got like the behind the scenes stuff with Zilla. And then obviously got some great content for myself, which will be dropping at the end of the week once I'm able to edit it all together, which Cam, you're a wrestling creator, man. You know that editing is probably the worst part of our job.
Yep, 100%.
100%. And when you've got 5 days of content that you got to put together, it takes a good time. So, hey, if anybody's watching this and it is like a solid editor, hit me up in the DMs because I need help, guys. So, yeah, no, that was the weekend. That was why I was down there, because like it just felt like everything fell in line. Like, Matt, I was able to get you to your first live show in forever. And I think we hit a pretty good one considering the matches we saw. Zilla showing up and showing out. Like, I don't want to make this whole thing about Zilla, but can we just take a minute and acknowledge, and no pun intended, acknowledge that is this kid's 10th pro match, and he's able to look like a superstar already.
Absolutely. That spot through the table, the table spot he did, holy moly, man. That was impressive. I got to say this real quick. I got to say thank you, Steve and Matt. They got me something pretty awesome, a signed chair from Zilla. If you check out my social, I have the video up. Thank you guys very much. That really meant quite a bit to me. But thank you, Zilla. Also, shout out to him. It's pretty special, and I can't wait to get it and have it showcased in the back of me when we do our future podcasts. But wanted to say thank you, guys.
It's all love, buddy. It's all love.
No problem, man.
So,
it's the least we can do.
Yeah, so Tesh, you mentioned Zilla, and obviously you can't give away any secrets, but it's no secret that he is part of the bloodline, the extended bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Will he ever, I know it's only his 10th match, but do you reckon he will join WWE down the line and make an appearance in that storyline?
I need to be very careful how I answer this. I think we see him sooner rather than later, but we need to understand this. He is only 10 matches in. Right. Like there's only very unique talent that have that ability to skip the line. If you understand what I'm saying. Mark Henry on the Busted Open podcast spoke very highly of Zilla. Booker T obviously has a relationship with him down at Row, and they're talking about him. All the right people are talking and watching Zilla Fatu right now. I say sooner rather than later, but guys, don't think that we just got the debut of Tongaloa. We are already aware of the signing of Jacob Fatu. It's not if, it's when do we see Jacob Fatu. I will say this. If he is not signed by mid 2025, there's something wrong. But he's putting in the work. He's keeping himself in the right mindset. He's keeping himself healthy, and he's just blessed to be doing what he's doing. That's it. So to answer your question, we will, just not yet.
Yeah.
And just to sort of roll, like he moves different for the size that he is, and not taking away any of those other matches that we saw over the weekend. And they are talented. They're good at what they do, but Z just moved different.
Yep.
Like he and his presence was felt coming in, leaving, and in the ring, right? So it was all over the place with Zilla. So it was a great first indie match that I've ever been to. I mean, card that I went to and just saw some great matches, and there's some other amazing talent that was there as well. And I don't want to put anything behind them or anything like that, but Zilla is just, this is what he's meant to do. You can tell. And obviously with that bloodline, right?
Absolutely. And I just want to say, for a kid who is and I will reference kid. He's only 24. He's 6'4", 265 is what he told me the other day. A 6'4" man that is 265 should not be able to fly about 15 feet in the air, because that spot, Jay, I know you mentioned it, that if you were there, that was a longer jump than you thought. Like it wasn't, and he got air too, and he overshot. So like it was insane to see him move, and like I've seen him train. It's great. I'm proud of him. I'm proud to call him my friend. He blessed me. Him and Jacob both blessed me. Plus Mama Zilla. Shout out Mama Zilla, by the way. Everybody go follow Mama Zilla on Instagram, by the way. Mama Zilla, you got to get next level. But go shout out Mama Zilla. She is amazing. She's active on social media as well. And her hashtag, her username is @MamaZilla, which is amazing. January at Royal Rumble, she sent a pula, which is the traditional beads that he wears when he comes out, just for me, and I was blessed, and I made an honorary use, which for me that made a lot of sense. So I've been invited down to Houston for June 28th. Got a place to stay. I'm not confirming or denying I'll be there, but yeah, I just want to say like I'm blessed to be friends with the family, to know Jacob how I know Jacob, to know Zilla how I know Zilla. There's stories I wish I could tell, but maybe that's for when I retire out of this game.
Right.
So with that, you know, and Zilla, and you were able to get backstage. What's it like backstage that, you know, normal people won't be, they don't get to see the atmosphere and like how's that all play out?
It's a lot more chill than you would think. Like you'd think you'd have people running around. Hey, this is your time. This is your spot. This is all this. I got to witness like the stuff that it's hard because I don't know what I'm allowed to say I saw. And you got to be very careful because you still want to have that aspect of professional wrestling where you feel like what they do in the ring is just what they're doing in the ring. There's not like 27 to 50 steps of walking through a match, you know? So I'll just say the experience is so worth it. And if you ever get the opportunity, just stay calm, stay humble, and really just enjoy. Like Matt, you got to kind of stand to the side there and just witness like what was going on as well. And it's just cool because they're just normal people doing their job. We just hype them up because it's something that we love. They love it just as much. But like, I think my favorite part about being back there was hearing the discussions about who's getting phone calls from who. I can say Billy Starks, the fact that like she was offered WWE this early in her career. Like that's wild to me that an 18-year-old like was offered that and she chose to not go to WWE because she wants to still finish college. Like for me, that's like, what? How do you turn that down? The other cool one, I really will say the cool one is being down in Florida, being basically the wrestling hub of the US. Basically, if you're a wrestler, you live in Carolina or North Carolina, you live in Orlando, you live in Tampa, or you live in Texas. Like that's pretty much it, except for some that still live in like Georgia. It was cool seeing the wrestlers that showed up for the matches to watch in hiding. Javon Evans from NXT just rolls in and is just like, yo, what's up? And everyone's just like, oh, what's up, dude? You know, handshake. And he just like nothing. And then he just sits there during the January event, which I wasn't as allowed as much access because I wasn't known to the owner of GCW and the booker. But now like I literally have him on my phone chatting with him the other day. There was like oh god, what's his name from? He did the Ric Flair impression in TNA. Cam, help me out. Oh God. Anyways,
I can't think.
he was there. I'm drawing a blank right now. It'll come to me. He was there. The referees from WWE were there. A lot of big talent just come to watch these indie shows, and it just shows they're fans too. And that's the cool part. Like just walking backstage, like I'm walking past Matt Cardona. It's like, yo, what's up, man? And he's like, yo, what's good? You just keep walking. It's like, just chill. Like, okay, you know. And the one thing I do love, because I remember hearing, I believe it was Triple H, or no, it was Cody Rhodes. He was speaking about how his dad, Dusty, said, every time I walk into a change room, I shake everybody's hand. And that's like a go-to thing in the business. And that was the first thing I watched, like walked in the room and everybody shakes hands. Like it doesn't matter if you're at the bottom of the card, if you're a newbie, or if you're your main card, you talk to everybody, referees, production people, the guys that are building the rings. Shout out Shaman. I met him. He's a Tampa local dude. And he basically just builds the rings and works that for UFC and WWE, and such cool people. You hear so many stories. So yeah.
Right. And just to piggyback a little bit, because going back to what you said, they're just real people. They're genuine people, dude. Like there's everyday people. We have this big persona of them because they do have the spotlight on when they're in the stage. But when just even getting that glimpse before and even afterwards, like they're down to earth people. They're there because they love what they do. They love the fans, like having that connection and just seeing all that. And it was a different side that, yes, a typical fan just you don't see all the time. And I was lucky to see a little bit. I didn't get as much access as you, obviously, Steve, Mr. Teshk, but what I did see and the parts that I did get to see, it was freaking awesome. So let's turn the table here. We talked a lot about GCW. We talked about Zilla. Let's bring it back to you. You're our guest. You're our main guest today. So as you're creating content, right? What are the key factors, or what do you stick to when you're creating your content? Because we know you're doing different things. You have Straight Shoot. Okay, you're on all different types of social media. What are some differentiators for you while you're creating your content?
First thing, it's my love and passion of pro wrestling. I'll tell you a quick story because I think it's where you've come from to show where you've become. I think that's the biggest one. During the pandemic, I flew out for my uncle's. I fly out every year to Victoria, BC, Canada in September for my uncle's birthday. And during the pandemic, I missed his 60th birthday and his retirement party because I wasn't allowed to travel. So I did a surprise for him. I just showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning, walked in the house, sat on the table, and waited for him to walk in. And if you search somewhere on my social medias, you'll find it. It's probably on my Instagram. It's a really beautiful moment because like him and I are super close, almost like a second dad type thing. And this was right as they implemented, and I don't think everyone got it, but in Canada, we had a passport, a vaccine passport for travel. So if you did not have the vaccine, you had to remain in your house. But if you had the vaccine, you could travel and do whatever you wanted. So I was in BC. I landed on the Friday. On the Sunday, the British Columbia government implemented the vaccine passport. So my uncle and I went, well, we don't have it. So let's go to the liquor store, grab some libations, and we're just going to sit on the patio for your birthday and just, shoot the shit. And Cam and I, before the show started, before the podcast, had found out him and I have a mutual love. We were both diehard Liverpool supporters, and so is my uncle. I actually got to experience my first game with him back in 2016. Cam, you'll remember it. It was pouring rain. It was 3-3 at Anfield. Klopp sprinting down the pitch. Firmino scored 2 worldies, and then
against Arsenal.
That was against Arsenal, yeah. Okay, so that was my first match.
Late goal.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, we were sitting there talking Liverpool, and my uncle goes to me. He goes, "Can you do me a favor?" He goes, "Name the starting 11 of the 05 Champions League's final." I think I named like 7 players, and he goes, "Tell me every winner of every match from WrestleMania 17." And I went, and he goes, "That's what you need to be doing with your life. You need to be doing professional wrestling." At this time, a guest that you guys had on, still a very good friend of mine, Santi. We were working at a gym together, and we were both wrestling fans, and we didn't know it, but we always argued. And finally, somebody said, "Why don't you two just start a podcast?" So we trialed a six episode thing, and I'm not claiming the idea, and I don't think he will either. I think it was a mutual. We decided on the sixth one. I was going to give him 60 seconds to guess a wrestler, and it just went viral. And we just couldn't stop hitting it out the park on TikTok, and we just grew. And we grew into what we are now, man. Like, it is it's amazing. I'm so blessed to still have him as a friend. I'm blessed to like be friends with all the creators, because I look at it differently. It's not a competition. Like, everyone's doing something slightly different. But to answer the question, I know that was long-winded, but I had to tell the story anyways. To answer the question, I think the biggest thing is consistency and passion. That is my draw to it. And the one thing I have lacked as a creator at times is the consistency. So any new creators out there, follow in the footsteps of the ones that are doing it right and being consistent, and don't try and be the next someone. Be the first you and put your twist on it. Like, I know, Matt, you and I work, me, Matt, and Jason, Cam, we all work with Next Level, and I've pitched so many ideas to Matt in regards to different forms of content to make everything grow. And I'm really looking forward to this year, because being part of Next Level, it gives you the opportunity to do things that others on other social media platforms, one, can't do, one, aren't doing. And you're also getting the ability to work with amazing creators like Ant, like myself, like Cam, like Heel Kevin, like Conman167. Yeah, you can DM someone, but with Next Level, we've already brought you guys all together. And now it's like, let's do this together and build a big brand. So, long-winded answer, be consistent, be smart, and stay out of the bullshit. Like, honestly, stay off TikTok lives. I'm sorry. Unless you're posting content and trying to boost your content, stay off TikTok lives. And don't get involved in the arguments. Learn that the hard way.
So you mentioned there that you support Liverpool. What do you think of us bringing in Arnie Slot as our new manager?
Don't know who he is. Don't know anything about him, but he's no Jurgen Klopp, and I'm still depressed that he's leaving. I think it is going to be a very tough couple of years for us. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get Alonso, isn't it? He would have been the favourite choice, I think. Again, I don't really know much about Slot either, but I don't know much about him off yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to write him off, but the last time we saw this, our lovely rivals at United had the exact same thing. Not much known about him. He got brought in, and he literally, it's not going well for them right now. So
yeah,
Jason, you know how Cam feels. I think we finally know how Cam feels.
I was just gonna say, Cam, I'm gonna take a page out of your book. I have no idea what you guys just said.
No clue.
Yeah,
you guys,
exactly. I get this every week. Every week with the women basketball, American football, whatever it is, I don't even know. But I just sit there, quiet, listen, and finally we've got a football fan on.
Yeah, mate, no worries. You should have asked Santi last week, because he's a diehard Derby Rams fan.
Is he? I asked him. He said he supported Liverpool because Luis Diaz plays for them, but only because he's Colombian.
Oh, he's only jumped over because he's got a Colombian on the team now. I love when that happens. No, but he's the entire time I've known him, he's supported Derby.
Yeah. He did mention he supports the Colombian players, so he does jump ship every once in a while. He did say that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up what you did about Next Level and the partnerships that we have with each other. But then it's a community, right? Like no other. It's a place where we don't compete at Next Level. It's a place to collaborate and share your passion of wrestling. And so I'm glad you brought that up, and I just wanted to emphasize that, because that is what's important to us. Like, we don't care who you are, what it is that you're doing out there. If you have a passion and you enjoy wrestling and you're a high character person, Next Level is the place for you. And that's what we, are super excited about at the Next Level platform. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and just to add one more thing, just so y'all know, like when I said that there's things that are going to be changing and things that are never been seen, they're only really going to be available on the Next Level app. Like there is one project that's being worked on right now that I know about. I am so excited. Like I am freakishly excited to like bring this to the wrestling world because nobody's done it. Not one person has done it. And I'm looking forward to like sharing that and sharing it with the team. So let's go.
All right.
Yes,
so Steve, I gotta ask you this. What has been a major challenge or failure that you've came across in your career so far?
Wouldn't say challenge, but when you are partnered with somebody and you find massive success, and then and I'm so proud of everyone's success, but when you have to you find the time that okay, we've done as much as we can do, now we got to do things on our own. It's kind of funny being like reading the comments about like, oh, you're just like second rate or anything like that. I think the negative comments are the thing that I laugh at now, but in my early stages it was getting to me, and I had to reach out not just to like creators, I had to reach out to like athletes, and I'm like, how do you've gone through this, how do you deal with it? And they're like, don't. Like all somebody said to me, all content and everything in the analytics is all positive. It doesn't matter if it's a negative, a positive, someone spamming, someone putting links in your chat. It's all content boosting your algorithm. So now I just look at it and feel like, thanks, bud. You're just pushing me up the ladder now. Like you're pushing me into the category of people are making signs about you at wrestling shows. People are wearing your shirt. People are tagging you in tweets saying favorite wrestling creator, favorite creator. My favorite comment, and somebody said it to me at GCW, which I've never had someone say it to me to my face, was thank you for getting me back into professional wrestling.
That's awesome.
And that one always gets me. Every time someone sends me a message saying, thank you for getting me back into professional wrestling, I had no idea what I was missing. And that's the one I'm like, yeah, okay. So challenges is just dealing with the everyday negativity, because the wrestling community can be super toxic. But the one thing I can say is like, once you mentally move past that, you're home free. You're home free.
Well, so Cam, with you being, is this something that you experience as well?
Yeah,
just because you're on that side, right? And we've never really talked about that with you. It's always been positive, or we've been focused on.
Yeah, I mean, I think every creator gets it to a certain extent. I've had it mainly on my Twitch with two people in particular that went really, really far to the point where I was getting threats, and that was pretty concerning to an extent. But I think we have got rid of them, thankfully. But they were just making accounts on accounts, and it was like, in the end, I was similar to Teshk. I was saying, thank you for the ad revenue. You are paying my bills here.
Yeah.
And then now I just ignore. I mean, I barely even check my TikTok comments anyway, so I'm probably missing a lot of the hate. But the Twitch, again, I'd say my biggest piece of advice is just to ignore it.
There's no point. At one point, I actually started thinking like, I'm just going to take these comments and make content out of them. But then I was like, now I'm giving you clout.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
So I did one video and I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't like how this turned out. Like, I sound bitter, and I didn't want to sound like that, because early on in my career, like I fell into those lives where it was just all negative, and I don't want to be part of that. I've got so much more going on. Like, you start talking brand deals, you start talking, working with wrestlers, and listen, everybody's watching. Like, right. I'll tell you right now, like when you walk into a room with a bunch of wrestlers and be like, hey, I love your video. It's like, sorry, what did you just say? Sorry,
Right.
let me clear my ears out because you watch my stuff. And they're like, yeah, I love your stuff. A quick little story. I was in Montreal for Elimination Chamber last year. And I became very I became friends with Top Dollar, now goes by AJ Francis, TNA, feuding currently with Joe Henry.
We
Um,
believe-
but yeah, he messaged me and he was like, yo, come meet up. We're going out. And I ended up, going out with them and enjoying ourselves. And all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre walks up behind me, and I'm a die-hard Drew McIntyre fan. Like, I've got his stuff up here, and I was just in awe, and I actually froze. I've never frozen in front of a wrestler in my life, and I've worked backstage at events since I was 14. And I froze, and he goes, "When you're ready, come have a chat." And I'm like, all right. So composed myself, walked over. I said, "Nice to meet you." He goes, "Where do I know you from? I recognize you from something." And we know how active Drew is on social media. So anyways, long story short, I just showed him a screenshot of one of my videos. He goes, "Yeah, I've seen you. You didn't get me right on your game." And I'm like, "Which time?" So yeah, it's cool when you can get recognized and your work is going to the masses, not just the fans. And I love the fans, but when you get acknowledged from the talent, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I bet. You mentioned games. I know you and Conman just recently started a quiz game, wrestling trivia.
Yeah, so that was trial. That was a trial for Backlash. It's not a confirmed steady thing. There's a couple of meetings and things that have to be signed and done before we can really talk more about that.
Okay.
But a lot of my content since I've been a creator, I've always enjoyed trying to test people. I'll sometimes go to events. I'll just have my camera and my microphone, and I'll do a guest the wrestler out front of the stadium. That's always a fun one because the people that recognize you know the questions to ask, and when they get it right, it's someone's just scored a winning goal. And I remember another creator early in our careers, Wheezy Blonde. We were in Detroit for SmackDown, and we had all gotten together as creators. We were all sharing a house, and we did I believe for you guys, in the US, it was under 35 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cold in Detroit. It was, and for everyone in the US or Canada and the UK, it was about -7 out front of Little Caesars Arena. And Wheezy is in this denim thing and she's freezing. And I did a guest the wrestler, and she ended up getting Austin Theory. And that was one of my most viewed videos because she just went mental because she didn't believe it. She got it at the buzzer. So yeah. So the quiz thing, I can talk more about it probably the next time I'm on, but right now I just can't dive into it. But yeah, the trial went very well.
All right. So how's it working with Connor on Straight Shoot? How's that relationship and
I love
and
Con. I love Con. I've loved his content for a very long time. I'm blessed to call him a friend now. And when Straight Shoot changed everything up, I tried a couple of creators, and we were able to put together some really good content, which was able to pull. But then we came to the conclusion that it needed to be someone that we worked off each other really well. The conversation needed to be very well put together. And I'm not saying the stuff with the other creators that were on was bad. It's just we saw it differently, which was great because now they're doing their thing and they're killing it, which I love. But Con, the second I called him, I said, "Hey, I was wondering if I could talk to you for 5 minutes." And 3 hours later, get off the phone. But I didn't have to ask. He already said yes. I didn't even ask him. I was just so I'm looking to do a trial thing with Straight Shoot. And he's like, yes. And I'm like,
right.
really? And I'm like, permanently? And he's like, yep, no problem. So he's always had the same vision. We're trialing some new stuff. We've posted some on our new account. But yeah, no, I love working with Khan. He's such. I'm just gonna say this. He's a goofball, man. Like I'll tell you right now. Like he's so Canadian. Like I live here, but I was raised British. So like I've got that really dry, aggressive sense of humor, and I'll drop an F-bomb every now and again. He is your like super polite Canadian that won't swear, and he's just, it's so funny. But I love vibing with him because it's just two good dynamics.
So with all the content stuff with TikTok, do you reckon it's going to get banned? Obviously in America. What's your thoughts on that?
There's a lot more that's going to go into that. So I'm not going to speak too much on it. Let's just say this. TikTok is not going to turn into Vine. Okay. We're not going to see it die. It's just going to have to adjust its strategy. I just look at it this way. If I'm not getting paid through the US, I'm just going to get a phone out of the UK and keep going. So right. I'm not worried about my situation. As my content is predominantly TikTok, and I do get my monetization from TikTok, I'm not worried. I've got a backup plan. So I'm okay with TikTok getting banned in the US if it happens.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that, though, because obviously I'm from England as well, so I'd be okay, but most of our viewers are American, so they wouldn't be able to watch anymore, so our numbers would significantly decrease.
Listen, there is this beautiful thing called a VPN.
Yeah, that's true.
There is no way the US is... How many people make their money off of TikTok? There is no way that people are going to stop watching. Like TikTok, like there's... Cam, Monday Night Raw was last night. Okay, you do some reaction content. I do reaction content, dude. I did like 4.5 million views last night. It's not going anywhere. People want TikTok. So yeah. Just remember, there's also an election. We're not going to go politics, but there's also an election coming up, and that could get changed real quick.
Yeah.
4.5 million views. You said
that was a small night.
What's the biggest view one of your content has gotten?
So when we were originally doing Straight Shoot, and somebody can go quote me on this, but I do believe one of our videos did 10 million.
Wow.
It's nothing compared to 36.4 million, Cameron.
That is Instagram, so I mean...
Okay, fair. Well, it's harder to get those views on Instagram than it is on.
Right, I was gonna say
TikTok's easier, bro. So big shout out to you for that. But I think we did 10 million, and it blew our mind because it was like the Great Khali, which was like so weird. But on my personal channel, I think 5.6 on TikTok is my biggest video. And that was recently too. I think that was The Rock coming out, dropping Cena, and then the Shield music hitting at WrestleMania 40, and then Undertaker's bell toll. And Cam, you marked out. I marked out. If you're everyone marked, like everyone marked out, and that was amazing. Like that final boss. That whole thing with the final boss is it'll never be duplicated. You can't. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nobody will ever duplicate Stone Cold. Nobody will ever duplicate The Undertaker. The Rock found a way to take every version of himself and multiply it by 10 and make it must watch. Sellout after sell. What did they do? 17 straight shows? Sold out, and he was only on like 4 of them.
Yeah,
jeez,
that's impressive.
Yeah, so I think it was like 5.6 million.
Yeah, so at WrestleMania, obviously, you just mentioned The Rock was there and Taker. Were you on Team Cody or Team Roman?
I acknowledge my tribal chief. That's all I'm gonna say.
You were on Team Roman. Tell you what, I was on Team Cody. Obviously, you couldn't tell there. Yeah. But now that Roman's gone, I am kind of sad. I never thought I would be, but I do miss Roman.
I had this conversation, I believe, with Matt literally last weekend. And I had it with Zilla. You don't know how good things are until it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Cam, you and I read the dirt sheets, we read Twitter, we read the mill, and I think the collective audience is already bored of Cody. His promos, I'm not saying they're mid, I'm saying they just don't give you that shock value of everything Paul Heyman was doing, everything that Roman was able to be doing with just like one-liners. I don't think it should have ended there. I think there was more to it that they could have done, but okay, they decided to do Cody. And, you know, we have that now. My biggest concern is the rumor that there's no direction for his title run yet. Then they're more focused on other storylines from what I've read and heard. But I will say right now, the most entertaining thing, obviously next to the secondary bloodline that we got, my God, Tonga Loa, my God, I never thought we would ever see Gorillas of Destiny in WWE. Like that for me is just like wild. But I'm loving this Drew McIntyre CM Punk thing, man.
So am I.
Like both guys are injured. Here, like think about this. Both are actually unable to wrestle, and they are still the best thing on Monday Night Raw right now.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned there that you thought it wasn't the right time for Roman. Do you think Cody was the right person?
No. Well, it had to be Cody. They're booking Cody as the new, I hate to say it, the new John Cena. And first off, I am not a fan of the face. I never have been. It's been well documented that I'm not a fan of John Cena's character. I'm not a fan of Bianca Belair's character, and don't take this out of context, please. But Bianca Belair and John Cena outside of WWE are two of the best human beings on the planet. What they do for the community, all that kind of stuff. So it's just I'm not a fan of the face. And Cody, I liked the idea of finishing the story, but it just felt forced. But we all knew at WrestleMania 40 that match was going to be so overbooked that it didn't matter who was going to win because the crowd was going to go home happy. Half were acknowledging Roman Reigns, half were hitting the wall, you know? So it's going to be interesting to see. I like that Cody has it, but I'm looking forward to Cody losing it. And
you should lose it too.
I personally think the best story there is Randy Orton.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
that there's the legacy storyline. There's Cody going into like a darker version of himself where he can say, "You slapped my father, and this is like what you deserve," type thing. Randy is working like crazy. I think he deserves to potentially be the one who passes Cena or ties Cena and potentially pass Ric Flair. I also said after WrestleMania that I don't believe this run for Cody is going to be that long because I think they're going to try and push Cody to have multiple title runs in his career, kind of like Cena. I can see Cody up into the 11s and 12s of titles for both the world title and the WWE championship by the end of his career. And yes, I know he's not young, but I can see it happening just the way they're booking him.
Yeah, with Cody, it's kind of like be careful what you wish for, because you wanted it, now you got it.
Right.
It might not be going the way that you thought it would, but I would love it if Cody turned heel. I'm still screaming for Bianca to turn heel. I'm still screaming for John Cena to turn heel. And I would love to see a dark-haired version of Cody walk out. Yeah. And just, I think Cody turning heel would be kind of like the double turn at 17, where Austin did whatever he needed to do to get that title, and he sold his soul to the devil, selling it to Vince McMahon. And
I loved that, and we haven't really we've seen turns, but we've not seen anything of that magnitude. But with the creative direction that we've got from Triple H right now, and can I just reference the people that we have in production for WWE? Robert Roode, Abyss, Triple H, Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman, Jason Jordan, Nick Aldis, ex NWA World Champion, Adam Pearce. I believe he's an ex NWA World Champion. So we have. Oh, and how do I forget William Regal?
Mhm.
So we have so many brilliant minds that story could be written tomorrow and sell out arenas everywhere. So Cody going heel, I can see it in the next 18 months.
Yeah. So sort of we'll start winding things down here, but what are there any big things happening in the future here with you, Mr. Teshk? Do you got anything on the horizon? Tell us a little bit about what you got going on, maybe in your future, and some thoughts or whatever. As we
Really
close this up.
Yeah, really pushing obviously the next level brand. I feel that I got in, I came in at the right time. I've made the right connections with the right people. So the next level is one of my major focuses. Obviously my YouTube channel. I've got to build that up. I'm desperately looking for an editor right now, just so I can focus on creating content and not having to sit 8 to 10 hours editing a video. It's also hard because we're in such a niche that we need people to know what we're talking about. And that's the hardest part about getting an editor. So the right people have gotten the right editors at the right time. So yeah, the YouTube channel, some things coming up in the future. There's a good chance I'll be actually branching into combat sports. Another passion of mine is MMA. And I'm working right now to be at UFC 303, McGregor Chandler, in more of a context than a fan. I can't talk too much on that, but that's in the works. Money in the Bank. I will be at Money in the Bank for all those shows. The Thursday night before Money in the Bank, I'll be hosting the Wrestling Nightclub, which is going to be really cool. Can't wait to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of travel this year, but a lot of travel for good content. So I'm really investing a lot more in myself right now to make sure that the end of 2024 makes 2025 like ridiculous. So, and there's potentially a move happening for me. So I might not be I may no longer be in Toronto. Let's just say that. So there's a good chance that I'll be making a move so I can create even more content, but that's TBD.
Wow. There's a lot on the horizon for you.
Yeah.
Get those frequent flyer miles.
Dude, man, my Aeroplan and my American Airlines points right now are stupid, and I never know when I'm flying, so I just never use them. I just throw it on the card and write it off on the business. So so maybe I'll just save for a trip to Bora Bora so I can get away from all the wrestling fans and just turn off social media for a week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Steve, thanks so much for taking some time to just talk to us a little bit about you, who you are. Follow him on his Connect link. He's part of the Next Level app, but he also has his Connect link that has all of his socials, websites, and so much more about him. So go ahead and follow him on all of his socials, including the Next Level app. Jason Takes, thanks so much again. What another wonderful show that we have here on Influencer Interviews and Insights. So again, thanks guys for taking some time with us. But
absolutely,
Mr. Teshk, it was a pleasure. It was good to meet you last week. And some great stories are come out from this weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it, buddy. And thank you so much for being so hospitable. Jason, can't wait to meet you. It takes if you're coming down, if you're coming here in December, maybe I'll have to jump down to Florida. It's actually a cheaper flight than I thought. So maybe I'll come down and say what's up and we'll hang out. Good. So but yeah, guys, thank you so much for having me on. Love to do it again. Like I said, make sure everyone follows everyone here, and hit me up on my Connect link. I'll say this. If you are viewing this video and you follow me after this video drops, I'll give you a follow back on Next Level.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll be in touch, and we'll see you next week on influencer interviews and insights. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Bye.
Yeet.